So I'm right alongside the South Fork of the Smith River. Last time I was out here, it was a lot colder and a lot more wet. It was raining constantly. It's kind of unfortunate that the video was lost because I did some high quality audio recording. I brought the Zoom H4e mic and recorded some of the audio of the sound of the rain, the sound of running water, sound of the river. It was pretty amazing. It sounded nice. The water level's even higher because all the snow has been melting. So last time I was here, I could actually get down to there and I could walk around down there. But since the snow has been melting, the water level is higher. And it was like 38 degrees out. And then I drove further up the mountain and it was snowing. And I was getting snowed on. Got 84% on the battery. See how cold the water is. It's a little cool. That's not that bad. Water temperature is probably down to about like 50 degrees. This is where I came down from. Yeah, last time I was able to walk all the way up to where that rock is there. But the snow melt has raised the water level a bit. Let's see here. I'm gonna hike my pants up a bit. Water's a little cold. Maybe not even 50. It's about 50 degrees, I would say. I forgot to bring my battery pack with me, so I don't have extra batteries, unfortunately. The Smith River is one of the top 3 cleanest rivers in the world. This is the South Fork of it, which is my favorite portion of the Smith River because it's quieter in terms of just isolation. There's just not as many people around and on the South Fork of the river because it's much more remote. And there aren't as many domiciles alongside the South Fork. The main channel still doesn't have a lot of people living along it either, but it's got more activity. It's got a couple of towns along it, the Hughie Hamlet, Gasky. Those are along the main channel, and there's a lot of like rafting and kayaking sort of events that happen along there, so there's a lot more activity there. This is where I came from. Thinking I might take a trail hike after this. It's getting a little late to do that kind of thing, especially in such a remote area, but I kind of just want to do it. Here I am. I've got my lavalier mic on that's recording, and hopefully it's not screwed up. Sometimes I don't pay attention and it gets like knocked loose or something. Okay, I think it's okay. It's a little windy, so hopefully that's not interfering too much. It does have a little foam windscreen over the top of it, so that should help. But yeah, these are the kinds of places I like to hang out, giving you a little bit of a taste of the environments that I like to hang out in. I like these quiet, isolated areas, even the more dangerous ones. Wish I had brought my extra batteries. I'll have to go back and grab my batteries and resume doing what I'm doing. I have a second GoPro that's sitting in the truck right now up there, so I can always grab that. That's got a full battery in it. I think it's got a full battery. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's got a full battery in it, so I can use that. I also forgot to bring my Zoom H4 Essential mic, which I brought last time I was here. It's great for recording stuff like this, where you really want to hear the detail of the splashing water, the rapids, the lapping of the water as it hits the shore. I like doing this and getting out here, out away from everything, out away from people and the hustle and bustle and spending time in very isolated areas, because it kind of gives me a sense that all the other bullshit doesn't really matter all that much. Obviously, in order to be tethered to certain things in the modern world, which I currently am, these things do matter in the end at some point, but it sort of allows you to decompress and to let go and to realize that a lot of the things that do weigh on your mind don't actually matter, and so you kind of let go of a lot of the bullshit stress that comes with living in a world that has a lot of unnecessary anxieties, and it allows you to sort of prioritize a little bit about things that do matter, and sort of, okay, well, what does matter? Okay, well, I gotta renew the registration on my truck. I gotta make sure my taxes are done and pay my taxes, right? I gotta make sure that I take care of my health stuff. Those are the things that kind of matter, that allow me to function in society enough to be able to support my family, my godson in particular, and our kitty that we have, who's also got his health issues that we're trying to get stable. And so, yeah, you gotta kind of let go of a lot of other unnecessary bullshit in order to be healthier and not be as stressed out and not be driven crazy with all kinds of things that are weighing on your mind and pulling you in all sorts of different directions. And cutting loose in this kind of environment does that. It really kind of helps me clear my head and get away from the bullshit. And because when I do get out here, there's no cell phone signal. I don't care about what's going on with the internet. I don't care about what's going on with a lot of social things and such. I stop and I go, oh yeah, none of those things really matter. What does matter? Oh, when I get back, I got to take care of my taxes. When I get it back, I got to take care of renewing my registration for my truck. When I get back, I got to make sure that I schedule for my I got to do a diagnostic breast exam because it's something I got to do right now. So the things that matter are the ones that stick around. That you're like, oh yeah, I got to get back to those when I get back to civilization and I have signal again. But all the other stuff that you spend time wasting your energy on doesn't bother you for 1 second. You're not even thinking about it. You're just like, oh, it's kind of gone, and I don't have access to it, and I don't miss it. I'm not wondering what's going on with the latest and greatest whatever. So it really is a good psychological cleanse and cleaning of the plate, and allowing you to sort of prioritize the things that do matter. And honestly, if I'm being really honest, I would like to completely cut free from a lot of modern civilized society and just go completely off the grid and distance myself from as much as possible and become as independent as I possibly can from most of modern society, if I could, with some exceptions that I just can't really do much about, like certain health issues. But I'd love to cut ties with so much of the world and just be out in nature on my own land, being as self-sufficient as possible, providing all my own resources where I can, surviving off of others who also live off the land, who are also homesteading, trading with them and such. And sort of build a life that's independent of the system, so to speak. It's funny to think that at one point in my life, I kind of lived a bit like that a long time ago. So I wasn't in a good place when I did that. I was definitely in a bad place when I did that. It's interesting to think that in the past, I actually at one point lived a life that was outside of the system and was largely independent of a lot of things that we take for granted that are provided within the system that we know of and that we all tend to buy into. And then I spent pretty much my entire adult life kind of working within the system and building a life for myself in a professional life. And I wasn't really happy with it. I had money, I had land, I had a house. I did what I could with the land, at least to do the things that I enjoyed doing. Like, I had a very large, thriving garden. I liked beekeeping. But my dream was always to get back out into like my own land, independent of, off the grid, independent of cities and suburbs and independent of counties, and do my own thing. That was what I always wanted to do. That was my dream. And I never quite got back to it. But I wanted to do it right. I didn't want to do it the way that I did it out of sort of necessity as a teen. I wanted to do it the right way. So yeah, I don't know. I want to get back to that. But I have things that tie me to the establishment world, so to speak. Commitments. And even though every fiber of my being is saying, nope, we've got to get away and do our own thing and, say fuck off to everybody else. I can't do that, I've got these commitments, these obligations. You ever want to just jump in a river and see where it takes you? See what happens? I used to do that as a kid when I'd get out to river areas. It was fun. There's a certain skill to body surfing a river that has lots of rocks in it. And you got to scout the river, just in case. I did a lot of body surfing in the Klamath River back like 30 years ago. More than 30 years ago. The Klamath River is so muddy now because they've been tearing out all of the dams to try and restore the river back to its natural flow, to see if they can get the salmon population to go back up, because it's nearly extinct, because the salmon aren't going back upriver to brood, and they think that's because of all the dams and the water levels being lower as a result of the dams. So they tore all the dams out over like 2020 to 2022 or so. And it's like super muddy now and very silty. So it's not very pretty. It looks nothing like this. And it's going to take a few years for the Klamath River to settle back down. And a lot of natural biome down at the base of the Klamath River is kind of like buried in silt right now, and that's going to take a long time itself to become settled and reincorporated into the biome to the point where it's stable, because just like anything shifting in the Klamath River is going to kick back up the silt again and make it all muddy. So any like heavy moving flow of water into the Klamath River is going to kick back up all the dirt and mud again. Just the way it works. I'm kind of amazed I haven't heard any hawks call. Usually out here, when you're out here, you hear them call periodically. So the best time to hear them is like early in the morning. I did hear a hawk calling yesterday morning when I was out in Willow Creek. I was looking at a property out there. It was a really good property. I like it. And I'm tempted to make an offer on it. There are golden eagles and bald eagles up here. The bald eagles are usually closer to the coast, but you can find them out here too. So I've seen both. And you can see a lot of hawks out here. Well, what am I down to? 58% on battery. It's a good excuse to go back before I hit the 50% mark. So, I'm going to start heading back. Okay. Alright, let's go back up these slippery rocks. Definitely got to be careful.